Chinese TV uses AI to translate broadcasts into sign language. It's not going well. All right, okay, why? Deaf professor who worked on one product says developers won't listen to feedback about their products or their tech bro ways. Gentlemen and lady, because Pure is here. Gentlemen and Pure. This is the ultimate slap in the face to all the tech bros in so many ways. This Chinese deaf professor smacks straight in the face, just flat palm smack straight in the face, all the tech bros, to the point where generational children of these tech bros will be crying. We have a Chinese deaf professor throwing hard shade on tech bros. Programmers who won't listen to criticism. Who'd have thought? Let's read this article. It's really, really good. All right, here we go. Yeah, I've been programming for 35 years, son. It's not kiddo. Laugh, it's not kiddo. It's son. That guy yesterday literally called me son. He's not my dad, and my dad could beat him up. I know. Okay. My dad could beat him up, and he's not my dad. Okay, let me zoom in. Okay, here we go. I think this is better. China's efforts to employ AI as a means of improving access to media for its deaf population aren't going well, according to a professor at Beijing Normal University's Faculty of Education. Writing in an outlet called Sixth Tone, Professor, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, I'm going to try, Zheng Xuan, I don't know, notes that China is home to 20.5 million people with hearing disabilities, and that the nation's government has encouraged use of avatars and virtual presenters to provide real-time translation of some television programs. Those efforts started at the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games, which Zheng studied to assess the quality of the sign language translations and came away unimpressed. We transcribed and back-translated the sign language created by the avatars, then compared the results with the original audio, finding that a significant amount of key information was lost or distorted in the AI-generated version. Deaf people struggle to understand the AI-generated sign language. That's the main takeaway. On closer inspection, the movements of the avatars differed considerably from everyday sign language in terms of hand shape, position, direction, and movement, she wrote. Other issues were even more prominent. The avatars' facial expressions and body language were off, and their mouth movements were distorted. In interviews, viewers reported they generally couldn't understand the avatars' movements and noted that they seemed to have a limited vocabulary while struggling to handle words with multiple meanings. So she thinks that the AIs did a poor job because there are a lot of different ways to express certain types of statements in particular, even within dialects of Chinese languages. There's different ways to say a lot of different things or the same thing. So what you have is words that can't be found for the for the meanings expressed by the sign language when you compare the two. So what you typically have to do is a mixture of the sign language used sometimes to literally give you a sense of the pronunciation of the word, which you then tie contextually into all the other words and you get the meaning of things. Or sometimes it's a contextual sign. So there's a very big distinction when you're doing sign language with Chinese language and even within dialects, right? So when you have an avatar that doesn't understand that has to take into account that sign language is not a strict, like, here's just the sign of the word and away you go. There's body language, there's your facial expressions, a lot of the stuff that you have to be careful of when you're talking in Chinese, in any Chinese language, is the what's it called? I think it's in here. I'm looking for a word. Yeah, the oral auditory. It's the sounds. That's what I'm trying to say. Sounds can, you can even be saying the same word. It sounds to us Westerners, it sounds the same, but there's different tones and pitch and all of that, right? So it's the complexity of the language itself makes it a really difficult thing for an AI to understand how to translate that into sign. So this is the problem, and this Chinese deaf professor states all of these problems in the article very, very well, in my personal opinion. The nuances, exactly, the nuances are hard to get right. The sign language just can't cover all the cases. And so you have an AI avatar trying to translate on demand. It's listening in on people who are talking in Chinese, trying to discern the sounds, the tone, the context, the visuals, the body language, and then it gets it wrong in so many different ways. So it's not only the input that these AI avatars receive that they fail to get correctly, it's also the related output. So even if they do get something correctly, can they sign it correctly, right? Now, here's where the this professor slaps tech bros in the face, all right? Okay. She worked as a consultant for a team working on translation avatars and found them poorly equipped for the task. They seemed to underestimate the difficulty involved, overestimated the power of tech to solve problems. Okay? Let's just start there. They underestimated the difficulty involved. Oh, gee. They overestimated the power of tech to solve problems, just like all the AI cultists do right now, and lacked the necessary experience, resources, and ability to judge the quality of work done by third-party companies. Holy crap. Everything we talk about on these streams, everything, literally everything, each and every point. By the time I joined the project, these shortcomings had already become apparent. Although the development team welcomed my participation, I felt that this respect was more for my technical knowledge as a university professor rather than my identity as a deaf person. When she pointed out the product wouldn't satisfy users, her feedback was not fully embraced, as the developer seemed unable to fully empathize with my frustrations. She feels there are fundamental issues with the way tech approaches the problem of sign language translation. Get this, I'm going to zoom this in, I'm going to shove this right inside your eyeballs. Right in your eyeballs. I want this to be deep inside your cranium. Tech companies are used. Crap, I said that wrong. Tech companies are used to first launching a version that has a lot of bugs, then optimizing it through a large amount of user feedback. Huh. You don't say. The products she's seen were so bad, she fears they harmed the deaf community's faith in technological solutions. Huh. You don't say. That's not to mention the fact that some companies mislead users by promoting their products using real humans rather than avatars, and then release an immature generative AI version. Huh. You don't say. Techno-optimists may believe that these flaws will all be solved with time, but we shouldn't ignore the irreversible ethical harm. If the real needs of deaf users are not responded to, they'll feel that they're being treated as guinea pigs. Where else have we seen this exact kind of thinking? All of it. And you have to remember that this person whose name I cannot pronounce properly, and I feel really bad that I can't, but she is not in tech. She is a university professor whose specialty lies in sign language, essentially, like linguistics around people who are deaf, because she herself is also deaf. And she spent an unknown amount of time, but if we take her statements at face value, she walked into problems and recognized them immediately. And she makes some really good points about the state of the tech industry, which are exactly the points I've been making throughout 1.5 years of streaming. Ship it, bro mentality, good enough mentality. Who cares about the quality? We'll fix it later. Kick the can down the road, make the money, someone else's problem. It doesn't matter about security, overselling and under providing. And then what harm does it cause to you as a consumer? All the cybersecurity issues I go over, that's why I go over them, because while companies are going, well, what are we going to do? Spend time and money on fixing your security issues? Yeah. The answer is yes. That's exactly what you do. Because if you don't, you cause irreversible ethical harm. And the AI cult is no different. Like I've said, it's the last 10 or 20 years of the tech industry wrapped up in a nice little package called AI. And they do exactly the same thing. They operate in exactly the same way. They're the biggest techno optimists on the planet, the AI cult. And so what they do is they go, well, these problems will be fixed. They have such a huge, what did she say? They're so optimistic about the like tech will solve it. Don't worry about it. We're going to solve it with tech. It'll solve all of these problems. And they just go and ship it without thinking about the consequences of their actions. So I really wanted to bring this article out because I thought it went really well with yesterday's debate and with all the stuff, honestly, that we've been talking about here for 1.5 years. All the Enlightened programming streams, all the daily tech news streams, all the cybersecurity articles, all the times I've talked to people out there who are watching right now, I bet, who are consumers, they're not programmers. And I keep telling you that tech doesn't have to be this way. I think consumers have been desensitized for exactly these reasons. They think that it can be, that this is as good as it gets. The crappy software, the bugs, the crashing, the lag, crappy video games, ads, subscriptions, woke ideology, leftist ideology, even some right-wing ideology. It's just the way it is. No, you're just desensitized to it.